Do we have, is Hillary on the phone? All right, well, let's call to order the RTC meeting for September 20th with a roll call.
Good morning. Okay, Sajid Solaria,
Here.
Alexis Hill,
Here.
Ed Lawson,
Here.
Bill Thomas,
Here.
Mara Luz Garcia.
Here.
Oh, Hillary Sheevy may have just got on the
I
conference.
am.
Oh, there she is. Mayor Sheevy, you're here. And Adam Spear.
Here.
Thank you, we have a quorum.
Okay, let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim, will you lead us in the pledge, please? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Yep. Special recognitions. Receive a report from the Federal Highway Administration.
Good morning, Graham Dollarhide, RTC Planning Manager for the record.
Can we turn the volume up a little bit? Thank you.
I'll be introducing Alex Smith of the Federal Transit Administration, who will be providing a little more detail about this momentarily. But just to give a quick background, you will be hearing about the 2024 final report from the FHWA, Federal Highway Administration, and Federal Transit Administration regarding the federally required Transportation Management Area Planning Certification Review, which was conducted from December 2023 to January 2024. A process that was conducted reviewing the transportation planning process for the greater Reno's urbanized area as carried out by the RTC. Staff presented results of the draft plan back during the May meeting, but you'll be hearing some more details from the final report from Alex. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the RTC board. Every 4 years, the FTA and FHWA are required to, as Graham said, conduct a planning certification review. And we're happy to report, as we found in our report, that there were no corrective actions. There was only a couple of recommendations that I'll go through. But in general, we found that the RTC was in full compliance. And it wasn't just, it was a team of Mary Nguyen as the planning director. Mervin's on the call as well today. He's representing Mary's office at FTA. Brian Weber is new to FHWA, so you'll get to know him pretty well, but he represents the Nevada division of FHWA. So those were the people that were doing the review. Actually, Brian came in later, wasn't there during the actual on-site review, but he's helped prepare the final document. So to summarize what we found recommendations that the planning boundaries of the existing MPO should be coordinated with NDOT. So we were basically, there's a bunch of technical things that we found. It was, again, these are in the recommendation category. To clarify some of the planning boundaries. The next one was, and for more information, you can, Graham's happy to share the final report if he hasn't done that with you already. You may or may not know about the eSTIP system that NDOT administers for doing planning STIP approvals. And we're looking for a little, to help us with our systems. The eSTIP system is great, by the way, but we're looking for a little more coordination to help us to determine the original dates of approval instead of just the updated date. And that's not really a RTC problem, but if any effort to coordinate that with NDOT would be appreciated. some of these, again, are kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. On the UPWP, our recommendation was let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a commendation. UPWP does a good job demonstrating consistency of projects in the program to federal goals, as well as meeting the MPO's long-range priorities and performance targets. Then we had a recommendation that has since been fixed, but worth noting. UPWP should indicate clearly who is performing each work element and task, including if consultants are to be utilized. There is a consultant column in the summary budget, but not clear in the narrative section. Then that has since been resolved and was submitted to NDOT, FHWA, and FTA on March 18th of this year. Another UPWP comment. The UPWP mentions focus on safety and multimodal transportation planning in adherence with the BIL law. However, specific PL funds spending on activity tasks were not mentioned in the work elements and tasks or financial spreadsheet sections of the document. And like the previous recommendation, Graham and his team have already resolved that as of March 18th. We just keep it in there to note some of the things that we did find and things that were subsequently resolved. A couple of these items are still open, but again, they're not going to cause any kind of non-compliance. Transit planning commendation. RTC's support of the transit program, which focuses on addressing improved rapid bus transit and streetscape improvements along critical ridership corridors. We're seeing excellent results from all of that activity on the FTA side. So that's a commendation in terms of the whole planning process is really about delivering projects in the end. And this planning process is integrated with your project delivery. So it's a seamless, that's one advantage of having the RTC being both the MPO and the project implementer. You get great planning and you get great projects quicker. So it's really nice to see the whole thing working out so well. Public involvement, we had a recommendation there. Let's see what we have. RTC has both qualitative and quantitative analysis processes to evaluate effectiveness of the public process. FHWA and FTA recommend to document the process in the public participation plan. So that's, I think they have, in other words, they're doing a lot, but can we get better documentation of it? RTC has an engagement process for the stakeholders. The TIP, long-range plan, and public participation plan outlined, and the stakeholder engagement process. We recommend to document the roles, responsibilities, and key decision points of the stakeholders. And then lots of other categories in full compliance with no comments. Let's see. And we have just a couple more here. On the congestion management process, the recommendation was that RTC Washoe should publish the performance evaluations for both the build and the no build scenarios to help member agencies, stakeholders, and the public better understand the potential impacts of the investments identified in the RTP. That's still ongoing. Under performance-based planning, the recommendation was that RTC Washoe should enhance the performance narrative in the TIP to more fully describe how the program of projects will help the MPO achieve their regional targets or help NDOT achieve their statewide targets. For example, RTC Washoe should identify the individual projects or general project types that impact each performance area, the amount of funding programmed in support of each performance area, and whether additional funding or additional projects are needed to achieve the targets. And then the final recommendation, also under performance-based planning, in addition to the RTP and TIP, RTC Washoe should use its public website and annual progress reports to track the establishment, achievement, and performance targets of the FHWA and FTA performance measures. And those, so that's the summary of the report. The full report is available upon request. And I kind of went through a lot of relatively technical stuff, but as the board, I think you guys can appreciate all that stuff. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Questions from the commission? Nope. I think we're good.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for inviting us to present this. And again, I think, what we're finding, again, no corrective actions, which is great. And overall, an excellent job. And more importantly, projects are being delivered on time and under budget, which is pretty rare. So, congratulations on that.
Just how we roll.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you,
right, well,
Alex.
thanks a lot, and
Brian, we
talk to you
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to public comment. I have 2 public comment cards, starting with Britton Griffin, followed by Mac Rossi.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Britton Griffith for the record. I am here today as the president of the Riverwalk District. We are really excited to work with you all for the 2 bridges that are upcoming. If you all remember, we were with the Regional Alliance for Downtown and Riverwalk District when we did the Virginia Street Bridge. So now we think we have a lot better programming behind us, and we're really excited to work with you all for the upcoming, I think probably next 5 to 10 years, honestly, for those 2 bridges. So just wanted to let you know that we're here for support. We've actually met with Granite Construction for outreach and getting those businesses on track and just making sure that we flow together as a community and keep those corridors open even though our bridges are down. So thank you so much. And again, I look forward to reaching out with you guys for outreach for those 2 locations and the entire district as a whole.
Thank you. Mac Rossi.
Good morning to all. My name is Mac Rossi, and I'd like to address 2 pending projects that RTC has been involved in. One project is the making of over 9 years. The project is on North McCarran and Keystone Leadership for a traffic light. There are 800 residents that are depending on this project to be safe for them to leave their homes. RTC has been the main coordinator with the NDOT and the City of Reno. The project has been implemented to completed this summer. Summer is almost gone. What can RTC do to keep this ball rolling on this project? The second project is moving the bus stop 100 feet at North McCarran and 7th Street. The project has been in the works for 6 years. This bus stop is not AD approved. It is located on the right-hand lane of 7th Street, where the bus actually stops. The project was implemented to be completed this summer. It appears that very little supplies are needed because the bus stop structure is already there and just has to be moved. What I'm asking, is there a chance that these projects can be completed soon? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? Yes, please. Just fill out a card for me. I will try. Okay. We'll have someone fill it out for you.
During your manager comments, can you address next questions?
Okay, I'm gonna go to your left, okay? And then I'm gonna move the chair.
Can I not sit?
You-
Stand right now? It's okay, I'll sit.
She just had a knee surgery, so she's gonna stand up. I'm gonna hold the microphone for you.
just publicize my medical stuff all over the world.
It's a
Okay,
compassion.
all right.
Stop it.
Good morning, Mayor Lawson, Mayor Shibi, and everyone. My name is Dora Martinez. I know I sent my public comment through Michelle, and I'm here today because of my concern regarding the new bid for RTC Access riders. These are people with disability who gets to go through a process to be eligible for the door-to-door service. So some of the riders are like myself, blind. Some of them got Alzheimer's, most of them because they're elderly. And most of them are in the shelter workshops, and these are young people to old folks who have developmental disability. Our concern is that the next bidding is that our ADA buses that are door-to-door is going to be picking up the general public that are doing flex. And we are concerned for the safety of my peers who are developmentally disabled, who will be riding with the general population, whether they are drunk, under the influence, or just people that will make fun of my peers because I'm just going to be very blunt. Some of us don't look like everybody else because we have disability. And mental health is really important this time. These people with developmental disability, Cherry, stop it. He doesn't want to be here. These people with developmental disability, when they go on the RTC Access bus, that is their safe place. They like the driver, they know the driver. The driver treats them better than most of their caregivers. And this is true, and I say it from the heart because I ride in the bus and I hear what's going on. So I urge you, and I know that one of the emails that I got from one of the RTC staff is you guys are doing this to save money and time. But what about our safety? What about the safety of the drivers and the safety of people who are vulnerable and people who, like me, can't see? And but if somebody like groped me or groped somebody else who has a developmental disability, the safety factor got to be before you guys implement this trip. And that's not fair because we're going to be waiting in the bus more because the general public has to be dropped off first. And then this is a door-to-door service, so when the driver walks a developmental disabled person to their door and there's other people on the bus, who's going to watch the general public, make sure that the developmentally disabled person is safe on the bus with the general population? This is why we have ADA paratransit for people like me and others. So I hope you all take that into consideration. One more thing. I got an email from Josh, your awesome public information person, who is going to do the bike project, and I want to attend, but I'm not sure if it's accessible. And I hope that when you guys implement these things, that you consider people with disability, because we are here, and we want to be explore our beautiful city. You know, like Mayor Shibi says, when we know better, we got to do better. And thank you.
All right, anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? We'll bring it back to the dais. Looking for an approval of the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we'll move on to consent items. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion.
I don't wish to pull an item. I just would like some clarification, Mr. Chairman, on 4.5.4 on this amendment. Could we just have a brief overview?
Okay, let's go ahead and pull that item then.
Okay.
And let's approve the rest of it, and then we'll hear from Mr. Gee.
Okay, move to approve the consent minus 4.5.4.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, 4.5.4.
Members of the board, good morning. My name is Jim Gee, Director of Public Transit for the record. This agenda item amends our contract with Keolis to provide extra funds on both a fixed monthly basis and an hourly basis. The contract has a provision which allows Keolis to request an increase in costs based upon financial conditions. Myself and our CFO have met with Keolis 3 times to go over those financial conditions and are satisfied that the requirements of the contract have been met and that there is a need to amend the contract to increase the costs. Some of the issues that Keolis has seen is increases in labor rates, increases in materials and supplies, specifically because of older buses needed to be run due to parts availability for our battery electric buses, and also inflation, especially with liability insurance and increased insurance costs. The financial impact of this resolution is about $4.5 million a year at present service levels. I would make sure to emphasize that RTC does control the service levels. It does control the final amount of the contract, but at this time, we have no plans to modify those service levels at all. Happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the clarification. Just on some of the supplies and equipment, I was wondering, is Keolis responsible for putting up the barrier between the driver and the riders for safety, or is that something that we do?
So, great question, thank you. So on our newer vehicles, there is a barrier that is installed at the factory to protect the driver. And it's a hard plexiglass shield that is fitted directly into the vehicle and is customized for each different type of vehicle. That is at RTC's cost. For our older vehicles, we are receiving pricing now. We have 2 quotes, still waiting for 1 more, to retrofit the rest of our vehicles so that that barrier is there on 100% of RTC's vehicles. Because it takes them to come out and measure those individual vehicles, it takes a while to get those quotes, but the cost to RTC should be right around $100,000. And we're going to proceed as soon as we get the 3rd quote.
Okay, so that's not part of this, but it's a separate.
That's a separate
Okay.
item, and that will be under RTC's cost.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it. I'm ready to make a motion.
Let me just, one more clarification. Jim, tell us how much of the whatever million is due to labor costs?
It's about 2/3. There's the liability and insurance is about $1 million. The materials, the 2/3 for the labor, and then the rest of it is materials and supplies.
So for me, this doesn't come as a surprise that because we did give such a good, or Keolis gave a great raise to the bus drivers, which we needed.
We need it. Yep.
So, thank you. All right, now you can make a motion.
Move to approve 4.5.4.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing. 5.1, conduct a public hearing regarding approval of amendment number 4 to the FFY 2023 through 27 Regional Transportation Improvement Program. Adopt a resolution, approve the amendment number 4 to the FFY 23 through 27 Regional Transportation Improvement Plan for possible action. Graham.
Good morning, members of the board. Graham Dollarhide, Planning Manager for the record. As mentioned, I'll be addressing the proposed amendment number 4 to the federal fiscal year 2023 to 2027 Regional Transportation Improvement Program, or RTIP. So before I get into the details of each project, excuse me, I'll provide a quick overview of the purpose of the RTIP and the process involved in carrying it out. The document is a federally required program of scheduled and fiscally constrained transportation improvement projects designed to achieve the region's goals and objectives established in the Regional Transportation Plan, or RTP, by advancing prioritized projects to the programming phase. Inclusion in the RTIP is one of the necessary steps in making a project eligible for federal funding. And the RTIP includes all federally funded or regionally significant transportation projects, regardless of funding source, and carried out by any agency within the MPO boundary. Once approved, projects in the RTIP are incorporated directly into the statewide Transportation Improvement Program, or STIP, which includes projects for the whole state. The RTIP is not a reconciliation document and that is amended retroactively to reflect actual project expenditures. However, as projects evolve, significant changes in cost, scope, timing, etc., must be reflected in the RTIP. So this graphic just summarizes the process of how projects move from the long-range planning phase all the way through implementation. And we're currently in the programming phase, which follows the identification and prioritization of projects in the long-range planning phase, preparing them for the agreement and implementation phases. And even active projects in the implementation phase, if they cannot proceed forward if they have significant changes until they are addressed in that programming phase. So the current version of the RTIP is the FFY 2023 to 2027 RTIP, which was adopted in August of 2023. It has since been amended 3 times, beginning with the first one in November of 23 and twice this calendar year in January and June. The proposed amendment represents the 4th amendment to this document, and an amendment is required in this case to help facilitate the Nevada Department of Transportation, or NDOT's, STIP adoption, and to add, complete, and update projects. So for the next several slides, I'll be covering details for new projects or projects with proposed changes that will also remain in the RTIP. I won't cover projects considered complete that are being dropped out of the RTIP. So the US 395 North Valley's Golden Valley to Stead Phase 2 project is being amended to increase the total project cost. The result of this cost increase is because another separate project is being merged with this project, and so all of the scope and budget from that project is being rolled into this project here. The G751 Bridge Replacement Project is a new project in the RTIP, and it will replace a bridge structure in Lockwood and rebuild some of the roadway approaches to the structure. The I-80 East widening project is being amended to increase the total project cost and add federal funds and the construction phase of the project. The amendment is following an amendment in line, or it's in line with the amendment to the RTP that was done in July. And as I mentioned, the increase is due to the added phase of the project. The Frontage Road Washoe 51 Enhanced Safety Improvements Project is being amended to increase the total project cost and to move the project back. The project increase in this case is a result of a recent price check and a change to the material used in the paving process. The I-580 Bowers to Mount Rose Highway Preservation Project is also being amended to increase the total cost and move the project back. The increase in this case is due to an updated cost estimate, which was previously just scoping level, as well as a slight change to the project limits. The I-80 Verdi Bridge Replacements Phase 1 project is a new project in the RTIP, and it will replace some bridge structures at various locations through the western and central portions of Verdi, and this is separate from a different bridge project in Verdi that replaces bridge structures kind of in the eastern portions of Verdi and Mogul. And finally, the State Route 667 Kitski Lane from South Virginia Street to Plum Lane and State Route 653 Plum Lane from Kitski Lane to Terminal Way project is a new project in the RTIP that will involve pavement preservation on both Kitski and Plum Lanes. So I'll close with some final notes on this amendment process. The proposed amendment will, as usual, require layers of approval from the RTC board, the state, or NDOT, and the FHWA and FTA. The public comment period was noticed through standard channels, including the RTC website and a Spanish language newspaper, and was open from August 28th to September 17th. The process also involves review by RTC's advisory committees and a public hearing during today's meeting. And I would also like to point out that both the RTC's CMAC and TAC comments related to the I-80 East widening project indicated a preference for multimodal options. A summary of CMAC and TAC comments are provided as part of the agenda packet. The TAC did recommend approval of the proposed amendment, and it was not an action item for the CMAC. So with that, I will take any questions. Thank you.
Questions from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, on the,
Over there first, because I knew you had a question.
I'd love if staff could clarify that on the CMAC comments on the multimodal options for I-80, I think it'd be helpful just to hear some of the things that we're working on as well, so we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think it'd be helpful for the community to hear that.
Yes, thank you for the question. So, obviously, the Citizens Multimodal Advisory Committee sought multimodal options for this project in parallel. So some of the things that RTC has as alternative mode options are things that are currently in place, such as van pools that go out to the Tri-Center. We are also in the middle of a review process of proposals submitted through an RFP call for projects for a passenger rail study. So that's another potential option in the future. Also, NDOT has recently awarded some federal funding for the Tahoe Pyramid Trail to complete sections of that trail east of Vista. So that'll be another multimodal type option potentially in the future. RTC also is helping lead formation and establishment of a TMA out at the Tri-Center, a Transportation Management Association, which will hopefully provide additional funding and options that'll help people get out there. So that's in addition to existing employer shuttles that currently run as well, some private options that exist. So so there are other options, and these also address some of the issues that we received, some comments that we received from the Air Quality Management Division as well.
And it's probably too early in the planning process, but are we looking at doing rideshare lanes for I-80?
From what I understand, NDOT is not looking at like HOV lanes currently. Potentially, Sajid can talk more to that.
Yeah, so it's a good question. As you know, the project still, we're under NEPA review. So NEPA will be completed by summer of next year. But as far as HOV lanes, I don't believe that it's part of the study.
Okay, well, I don't know how much influence we have at RTC, but I think that would help incentivize rideshare for folks, but maybe we can talk offline on it.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right. This is a public hearing, so we'll open it up to the public for comment. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Reports. Mr. Thomas, the RTC Executive Director report. I see you have a
Thank you,
book
Chair
with
Lawson. I do. Try to be concise and quick with this, but I did want to start today by announcing something that is a very good positive for us. We were successful in receiving a grant from the Safe Streets and Roads for All federal grant process. FHWA awarded us $1.2 million for a planning grant to develop a comprehensive safety action plan. We will use advanced data collection to make safety improvements in target areas of the Truckee Meadows, specifically for vulnerable road users like pedestrians and cyclists. I wanted to specifically thank Jeremy Latin, Graham Dollarhide, and the whole RTC team on the great work in getting this application. And I would say that this is going to be a pretty significant effort on our part to really advance safety in how we do transportation planning, which I know is one of the board's preeminent goals. So great success for us, and looking forward to this effort as we move forward in getting the grant, actually physically getting the grant and moving the project forward. And we'll, of course, keep the board apprised as we move this safety action plan forward. As all of you I know are aware, the Davis fire caused a lot of hardship to our community this past month. And I just wanted to share with the board and the public the things that RTC did to help in this dire situation. On September 7th, MTM, and I should say and our contractors, MTM provided 6 access buses to evacuate patients from neuro restorative. They used 3 of those buses to transport 6 wheelchair-bound patients and some of their caretakers to Renown Regional Medical Center. Keolis was provided 4 ride buses, but they fortunately weren't used, but Keolis did immediately and quickly respond and have those buses ready to go in case they were needed. And then last Wednesday, we were contacted with some concern. I think all of us know that was the most volatile day in the fire. And there were a lot of projections about some very serious things happening to us. MTM was able to make available 17 access buses, so that's pretty significant. They responded quickly and we were ready to go. Fortunately, as we all know, the wind didn't go the way that it was forecasted to go, and we didn't have to use those. But I did want to share and thank on behalf of the board, both Keolis and MTM for responding so quickly and being ready to go. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that we also were offered help from the Tahoe Transportation District, even to the point that they said they would cancel their services if we needed to use all of their buses. So I did want to share with the board and the public that all of our transit providers in our area were ready to go and help in any way they could. So I'm very proud of that, and I know the board is appreciative of that on behalf of the community. Specifically, I want to thank Jamie Barino and MTM, Keolis, and TTD. As always, they're great partners in addressing public needs, and I just wanted to specifically publicly thank them. The RTC recently joined other MPOs from Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and Idaho to sign a letter to the EPA's Office of Air and Radiation. This letter requests a scientific study to show why our regions are not experiencing decreasing ozone concentrations. So for those who don't understand, one of the many constituents in the air quality conversation is ozone. Some cities are actually even seeing increase in ozone despite significant emission reduction policies. The Intermountain West has unique challenges in meeting the current 2015 8-hour ozone national ambient air quality standard. So we hope a study will help develop a much-needed understanding of the science behind observed ozone concentrations. The EP is reviewing its standard, and there is concern that these standards might be tightened even further and could compound the attainment of challenges for ozone in the Intermountain West. And as far as transportation, the ultimate consequence of inability to meet these new standards would be loss of transportation funding. So how EPA responds to this, I will certainly share with the board, but I just wanted to make you aware that I did, on behalf of our community and RTC, sign that letter, as well as the Executive Director of Southern Nevada RTC. Another positive thing I wanted to share is RTC was happy to participate in Senior Fest a few weeks ago. This event was at the Reno Town Mall. We provided ride bus and flex ride cutaway service for the event. I want to thank Susie Trinidad Judy Velez and Ruby Barrientos for staffing a table and providing information to our seniors about transportation options. As the board knows, a significant portion of the community we serve are seniors, so we're very active in communicating with them and making sure they're aware of our services and how they operate and helping them in any way we can. At this point, I would like to introduce one of our new employees. So Tom Tsunemoto, Tom, if you wouldn't mind standing, actually started on Monday. And he's one of the newest members of our planning team. Very glad to have him here. And I know Vanessa has been looking forward to this, as well as the whole planning team. So just to give you a little background on Tom, you can clap if you want. His focus has been on geographic information systems. He has a degree in environmental science with an emphasis in ecological restoration and conservation specialization from the University of Nevada, Reno. He comes to us from a local company, UES McGinley and Associates, and is a GIS specialist and environmental planner. He also contributed to conservation and sustainability projects regionally and internationally. This includes a BLM seeding project in Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area, restoration field work in the Great Basin with the Great Basin Institute, and actually establishment of a recycling center in Kenya. So I know on behalf of the board, which we've already done, but I just say formally, Tom, thank you for joining us and looking forward to your the great opportunities we'll get in you helping our community. I also want to make an announcement about another employee. So Brian Byrne, I don't know, is Brian here? He isn't. He's had his 1-year anniversary at RTC. Brian is one of our project managers in the engineering department. He hit the ground with us running by taking over some of our biggest projects, including Lemon Drive, the Arlington Avenue Bridges Project, and the Sierra Street Bridge Project. So I want to thank, on behalf of myself and the board, thank you, Brian, for your hard work, and I'm glad you've joined us and appreciate your contributions. The MTM Employee of the Month for August is Debbie Corridori. Debbie has been part of the team for 2 years and is now joining the ranks of the Behind the Wheel trainer. She has a personal and professional experience in assisting elderly and disabled people. Combined with her love of driving and helping people, this is a perfect match. Debbie has 2 daughters and 2 grandkids spread between Fernley and California. So not only is she driving buses, sounds like she's driving quite a lot in her personal life. I want to thank, on behalf of the board, Debbie for her contributions to our community, and thank her for her, basically her attitude and her effort in helping us provide the best transit system that we can. Victor Echeverria is the Keolis Driver of the Month for August. His accomplishment in August consists of 96% on-time performance, 0 preventable accidents, and no customer complaints. Victor is originally from Los Angeles and has worked as a bus operator and ride since September of '23. So I want to thank, on behalf of the board and the community, Victor, for being such a great driver. And that concludes my comments for today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Up next is Paul Nelson.
Good morning, Paul Nelson, Government Affairs Officer for RTC. The federal fiscal year ends September 30th. Neither the House nor the Senate have taken action on all of the appropriations bills. Speaker Johnson does want to propose a 6-month extension of the current funding, but he also wants to add a voter registration bill. It doesn't sound like the Senate would want anything to do with that, so they would oppose its inclusion. Neither party does want a government shutdown before the election, so we expect Congress to fund all federal agencies through mid-December. We are finalizing our Reconnecting Communities grant application for Sun Valley Boulevard. That's due September 30th, and we're asking for $40 million to improve the corridor. We're also working closely with NDOT and the county on this project. USDOT has published a notice of proposed rulemaking on accessibility standards for pedestrian facilities. These rules would only apply to new construction and alterations of transit stops in the public right-of-way. DOT is accepting comments on the proposal through Monday. And that's my report.
All right, now move on to NDOT.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman. Sajid Solaria, Nevada Department of Transportation Deputy Director. I will also keep my update very brief. So we'll start off with, wanted to share provide some preliminary traffic safety data through our Department of Public Safety. As of July of this year, as just a good reminder for all of us, but unfortunately there are 8% increase over fatalities. That is number that shouldn't be going up, it should be going down, but it's a good reminder. But speed and impairment seems to be the largest contributing factor to that. Some key takeaways for Washoe County here: overall fatalities have decreased 22%. They are trending in the right direction. Fatal motorcycle crashes are actually up 20%. It's just, we saw one a few days ago here. So, but fortunately, pedestrians and bicycle fatalities are down. That's a good sign. But our main focus for safety in the intersection safeties and vulnerable road users, as well as passing lanes. So many of us here play an important role in the traffic safety, including our supporting and implementing strategic highway safety plans, strategies, and speed management action plans, and local road safety plans. So I think that is very important to help reaching us goal that we have is 0 fatalities. Just wanted to kind of highlight this. We try to do this every quarter. There's a lot more work need to be done. So moving on to my next slide, I think, Bill, you mentioned, I wanted to kind of recognize the collaboration during the Davis fire that keep all our citizens here in Nevada, especially in the northern area, safe. First responders worked day and night to protect life and property. Our own NDOT team worked with the fire and law enforcement officials to close the highways during when the fire began. It was I-580 through Washoe Valley, even the old US 395, Mount Rose Highway. Many of the highways were open in mornings after the fire, if they were safe. But Mount Rose was kept closed for a few days. I think it was open as the last weekend, fully open, and the Sunday afternoon. But all states' roads are open now, and we anticipate some periodic travel delays due to Cumming-Weiss Department of Forestry and fire crews that are removing the damaged trees on the roadway along the highway. So we just ask the motorists to look out for them. During major road closures, in this event like this, we augment our highway maintenance staff with our administrative staff because who assist us to close the roads. So, that is well needed due to lack of staffing and everything else. So many of the impacted by the fire themselves, but they are out there helping the motorists. So it's very commendable. Again, I like to, NDOT team and our community came together to protect our fellow Nevadans, and I really want to thank you, our gratitude to the first responders and everybody who participated. That shows us the public service, what we do in this business. So we appreciate everybody's help. A couple updates on projects. US 95, 395 North Valleys. Team is continuing to make progress on the project. A lot of traffic changes this month as we progress in the project. Northbound lanes they've been shifted to the travel lane on the newly constructed outside lanes. We reopened the PAR ramps. Recently we have to close Panther Valley ramps. So for this project, as you can, the depiction of the closures shown on the slide. But if motorists, we encourage them to sign up for this text alert. I think it's North Valleys, or visit our website for the North Valleys project for most up-to-date information. Also, I want to highlight another project that we will see here up in northern Nevada. This is Interstate 80 between Keystone and McCarran. This project will be resurfacing and adding an auxiliary lane between McCarran and Keystone. This will also build new sound walls and also a lot of drainage and signing and lighting improvements, and also enhance some landscaping and aesthetic, including replacement of trees and shrubs and other which are much more prone to adapt to our climate. So this is just the notice to proceed for this project was this week. We anticipate our contractor will start working, doing some earthwork and some other pavement work, but due to temperatures, since we're going in the fall, some of the work probably you'll see a lot more in the spring of next year. Well, I guess we always celebrate very good up in Northern Nevada, some of the events that we had up in our community. I think just wanted to say special thanks here in Truckee Meadows to everybody who was help and get involved in these. Enjoy them as well while we're working too, especially the rib cook-off and great balloon race and Burning Man, which is always brings us a challenge for us and the community. But I think I can say at the end of the day, it was very successful. I wanted to show a picture on the third picture on the top. That is the actual cone, and I thought it was a significant, somebody was very creative to come up with that photo there. So I wanted to share. Yeah, it's a big cone out there. So, but many man hours are spent to hold these events, but we're proud that these events are happening in our community and we celebrate them together. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I know in Vegas, isn't that the state tree in Vegas, the cone? Sorry,
No comment.
I grew up in Las Vegas, so I was quite aware of it. All right, let's move on to commissioner announcements and updates. You have anything?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I wanted to say thank you to NDOT for being such a great partner with Washoe County and RTC on the Reconnecting Communities pilot grant for the Sun Valley Community Gateway project. I can't tell you how much that means to us, and I've got my fingers and toes crossed for that federal funding to come through. It's very much needed, so thank you so much. And then our team at RTC did a great job yesterday at the EDON board meeting at 7:30 in the morning, and they came to present on Vanpool, and it was such a great presentation because they got in front of all of these large employers in the region and really highlighted how impactful this Vanpool option is for the whole region, and getting 300 vehicles or 300 vehicles on the I-80 corridor out to Trick on an annual basis. So if you do the math with the ridership that we have, or approximately 5 people per vehicle, it's pretty amazing the amount of folks that are utilizing that service, and I didn't realize how well utilized, and there's only room for improvement there. So reduced emissions, a lot of people taking advantage of that. So I just wanted to commend the team for getting out and spreading the great word on that specific option for community members.
Thank you. Ms. Hill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm wondering on this discussion of multimodal on the I-80 corridor, and I know before Janet Phillips passed away, I was trying to help her with UP and getting some easements for that connection. I had heard that their engineer did get approval on that finally, but it would be great to get an update from the Tahoe Pyramid Bikeway Group and NDOT to see how we can support, if we can support those connections. And thank you, NDOT, for seeing how we can pave those areas. I see a lot of people riding their bikes unofficially on a dirt path that hasn't, been improved. So that would be helpful. Additionally, I commend the team on the MPO certification review commendation on transit planning. That's great. I think we need to get that word out to the community and maybe do a presentation on why we received that. And because I hear from community members, we need to do more transit. And I'm like, we are doing more transit. This board has approved more transit. We've never done so much transit, but I think that it would be helpful to have an update on where we are with the TOPS plan and where we want to go and how this board can continue to support, because even last night I heard that we're not doing enough for transit. So that would be helpful for me so I have ways to speak about it and also ways to advocate if there's if we're missing at the table for whatever reason. So thank you very much.
See, looking right at Josh here, so Josh will take the lead on that.
Perfect.
All right. Any other, Mayor Sheevy, you have any comments?
No, thanks.
Thank you. All right, then we'll close commissioner announcements and updates, go to public comment. First up is Bill Heilig. Did I say that correctly? That's fine. Yep. Are you doing one presentation or two?
Two.
So I have two of you.
Yes.
Making an exception for you today. Normally, we'd not let anyone plug in a thumb drive into our computer system.
Oh, thank you.
And we will rectify that by the next meeting.
Thank you.
We don't have a
Mich-
thumb drive? Okay, I thought we were getting one yesterday, is what I was told.
Michelle adhered to the policy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Well, good morning, members of the board. It's a privilege to be here today. My name is Kyle Butel. This is my colleague, Bill Heilig. Before we start, I just wanted to acknowledge Bill and Adam. We've had some time spent with them, and they've been very helpful and generous with their time. The reason why we're here is we want to inform you of the volunteer work that we do at RTC, but we also want to inform the board of the challenges that we're facing. And we have a specific request that we were hoping the board could consider. So to begin, our slide there asked the question, did you know that over 200 Jehovah's Witnesses volunteer to assist their community at the 4th Street station? Where do they come from? Let's see. South Lake Tahoe, Truckee, Susanville, Portola, Fallon, Fernley, Carson City, Sparks, and of course, right here in Reno. All of these volunteers use their own personal funds to travel to and from RTC to assist the community. How long have we been doing this? Well, we've been at RTC since December of 2022. Roughly, we're looking at about 17 months of activity. Every Monday through Friday, we have 2 shifts, 3 hours each, 6 volunteers, which collectively over 17 months is some 12,000 plus hours of volunteer work to the community there. We've provided over 3,000 pieces of literature to our community at no cost, and 230 or so people have requested for additional support that we've been happy to facilitate. The challenges that we're experiencing at RTC, likely you're well aware of the safety concerns in that area of town. Our current location exposes us to harsh weather, so that's snow, rain, intense heat, or sunshine. And then finally, the last challenge is the current expressive activity permit that RTC has. In the red section there is our current area. And this is where we feel like most of our challenges are the nucleus of. We can't have anything to our back at this particular area in the public right-of-way. So that exposes both male and female volunteers to danger at times. Additionally, we are exposed to the elements, as we mentioned, and in that section, often it's not the desired audience. It's more of a community that lingers in the area. And so it makes it more challenging for us to reach the community that's genuinely using the transportation system. So there, the green circle is our request to return to the location we were prior to the revision to the expressive activity permit. We feel that this would deter security issues because it's more public. We have the overhead awning, which protects us from the weather. And then, of course, it helps us to reach those genuinely using the transportation system. So in conclusion, we just ask if you could please reconsider the expressive activity permit to allow us to return to the requested location. And certainly, we also wanted to just explain some of the benefits that could come to RTC if you were to do so. And that's where Bill will take it from here.
Kyle?
Thank you all in advance. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits that we as Jehovah's Witnesses bring to the community. We take a sincere interest in helping people in practical ways. We're able to help people that speak up to 50 different languages here in the Reno area, helping them find the right line to take, perhaps a ticketing purchase. We provide a really pleasant, friendly atmosphere. We demonstrate human kindness to people, warm smiles, warm greetings to people. We provide a safer environment as well, a second set of eyes. We are trained to be very vigilant in the work that we do. And so if there's any additional training, we'd love to get that as well from RTC. And also we like to connect with our community resources. We help people find the ambassadors, local shelters, and things like that. But not only practical help that we give to them, we encourage people to come to us to look for help when they need some encouragement, some emotional support, or spiritual support. Some of the areas that we are able to help people with is that of having success within their families. Also, the area of how to manage racial hatred and prejudice, and the hope for the future that things will improve permanently, and then even how we can improve our mental health. The Bible has interesting information that helps us to deal with the challenges that we face. So what we're asking for with the RTC is to help us. RTC helps people move physically from one location to another. But the RTC perhaps could benefit from the example of other locations like UNR, the Reno Tahoe Airport, the cities of Reno and Sparks, South Lake Tahoe. Some of those areas have special events, downtown events, or events like Food Truck Friday, the Century Golf Tournament, the Rib Cook-Off, and Hot August Nights, and we've been afforded the opportunities to present our information and to be help to the public there. Interestingly, Heavenly Valley Palisades, the airport, have made our activity only available by permit. And we would love to be able to transparently work with RTC to make the 4SS location a better, safer experience for individuals, passengers, the drivers, and our overall community. Now, it's interesting that the RTA, the airport, set up a meeting with all involved in the process, administrative team there, our administrative team. We had success in moving from outside to the inside of the terminal on a permitted basis. We helped them to mitigate their concerns. And we had talked to Adam a couple weeks ago about the possibility of having something similar where we could meet with you folks and mitigate those concerns and then get a permit that would allow us to do that. So we just hope that we can work together to bring a better experience to 4SS for our community. And if you guys have any questions or things that you'd like to ask us about after, we'd be more than happy to chat with you, or we can make an appointment to discuss that further. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right, Francis Julian.
Good morning, members of the board. Francis Julian for the record. I'm the Vice President of Operation for Keolis. On behalf of Keolis as a whole, specifically our great team here, our great local team in Reno of drivers and all the management team, I really wanted to thank the RTC for the amendment to the contract, specifically you, Mr. Thomas, Bill Gee, Christian, and Jennifer as well. So thank you very much. It's very meaningful, and our drivers, mechanics, and all employees are really appreciative.
Thank you, Francis. All right. With anyone else, the public wishing to speak at this time? All right, we'll bring it back to the dais, and we're on to my favorite subject. We're adjourned.